Please remember that the complete information for the class that you are about to view is at elithecomputerguy.com. Not only do we have our videos there, but we have part lists, diagrams, pictures, and even complete code examples. So if you are watching this video and you want more information, please go to elithecomputerguy.com. Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli the Computer Guy, and in today's class, I'm going to be showing you how to create a little photo upload web app. So in the previous classes that we've done, we've created two dynamic picture galleries. Basically what we do is we put all of our pictures into a folder, and then using PHP, we have dynamically created picture galleries based off of those pictures. So in the first example, I showed you how to create a photo stream. So essentially the PHP simply goes through, it figures out all the different picture files in a particular folder, and then it prints out an HTML document dynamically, essentially embedding those images in a photo stream. Then after that, we created a gallery where basically, again, we have one folder. All of the images are already in the folder. The PHP goes through, it collects all the file names for those images, and then it prints out thumbnails. So basically, you're looking at it like a thumbnail picture gallery, and then you can click on one of those images and then it becomes bigger. So those are the two gallery projects that we've done before. Now one of the issues with these gallery projects is that you have to get the images into that folder somehow. And again, this is one thing you have to be thinking about with building out projects is just, again, how are the pictures going to get into the folder? Since I have root directory access, since I have root permission access, what I've been able to do is simply be able to copy and paste pictures into a folder. But if you're going to have an application out in the real world, you're going to have to be thinking about how your users are going to be able to get pictures into a folder. Possibly they might have root level access. Again, this may be something that you set up. You have the permissions in order to dump pictures into a folder, and that's all there is to it. So that may be one way of doing it. You may come up with something like FTP access, so file transfer protocol access. Have your users use an application like FileZilla, and then possibly they could upload files using FTP to get the picture files into the folder. Well, what I'm going to be showing you how to do today is essentially create a very small, very simple web application that allows you to be able to upload pictures into that folder that we have simply using somebody's web browser. So this is something that you've probably seen before in a lot of other examples. If you're used to using software as a service, you're going to recognize what I'm showing you today. Basically what there's going to be is there's going to be a link to an HTML form. That HTML form is going to allow you to be able to upload files, and basically what happens is that HTML form will then pass the file over to a PHP script. That PHP script will do some computations and basically then dump the file into the folder. And then if you have something like a gallery, this is now a way that you can add pictures to your gallery without having to have root level access, be able to do copy and paste or FTP, something like that. So what I'm going to be showing you how to do today is build, again, a web browser interface where you're going to be able to upload pictures into the folder for the photo gallery app that we've created in the past. Warning, Will Robinson, warning. So the project that I'm going to be showing you today basically has no security built in. And when I say basically it has no security built in, it essentially has no security built in. Very, very tiny. It has so little security, it's not even worth bothering to say that you have security built into it. So basically what I'm showing you how to do today is I'm showing you how to be able to upload image files into a folder and then be able to do some things with those image files. But again, if you're thinking about using something that's going to go into a production environment, I would highly modify this code. I would definitely add some things to this code before I would put it out into the real world. Or, if nothing else, I would just simply have my hand on the power plug to the server. So if somebody started to do something stupid, I could just yank the power out of the server. So that is the warning for today. Again, I get some old timers that come here and they see the classes that I do and they're like, there's no security. And it's like, yeah, you're right. You are 100% correct. There is no security with what I'm showing you today. but I'm trying to show you technically how this works, so then we can build on this later and be able to add security. So just like we've done a couple of gallery applications up until this point with no way to easily be able to upload images using a web browser, right? And so I'm now building a new component for our previous projects. The idea as we go through and we do these different projects is we keep building on what we've already done. So first I showed you how to do a picture stream, then I showed you how to do a picture gallery. Now I'm showing you how to actually be able to upload images using a web browser, and then in the future we'll talk about user account creation and then actually trying to do security and all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking at this going, oh my golly, there's no security, you're right, there isn't. There isn't. Think twice before you copy and paste this code into the production environment. That is my warning for today. So before we go over and take a look at the demonstration and then actually go through the code, I do have to talk a little bit about what is required in order to make the scripts work today. The first thing is on the Linux front. So the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make sure that the folder that you're going to be dumping these picture files into has both write and read permission. So this is an important thing, and again, this is where we get into the whole what is secure and what's not secure, and that's a discussion for another day. But you are going to have to make sure that the folder that you're dumping the images into has both the read and the write permission. Literally, if you do not have the write permission, when the script goes to write a file, basically save a file into the folder, you're not going to have the permission, and so it's going to fail. You're also going to need the read permission because, again, we're using this folder to store the images for a photo gallery, and so to actually be able to see those pictures once you've put them into the folder, you're going to have to actually be able to read them. You're actually have to view them. So you are going to have the read and write permission for everybody or for other for the folder where you're dumping the images. The next thing is the php.ini file. So the php.ini file, this is the configuration file for PHP that says how PHP should operate. So from a security standpoint, the php.ini file is very useful because basically you can lock down how PHP will operate, what functions are available in PHP based off of the php.ini file. One of the settings in there is whether or not you are able to upload files. So if that is set to off, then it doesn't matter what your HTML form looks like, doesn't matter what your PHP script is or what the permissions on the Linux server is. If the PHP ini file has the file upload turned off, it simply will not function. So you will have to turn that on, and I'll show that to you when we're going through the demonstration. Past that, we're going to be using two functions today. One of the functions is going to be called base name. So today, when we're going to be uploading the image file onto the server, we're going to have to be dealing with the name of that image file a little bit, and there's going to be some transformations that we're going to have to be dealing with in the script. So basically, when we upload a file using PHP, that PHP has a temporary folder where it stores these temporary files, and it will actually give the temporary file a temporary file name, right? So basically, you upload a file. So you have a file called file1. When you're uploading that to PHP, it initially gets dumped into a temporary folder and then kind of gets like a randomized name to go along with it. So what we're going to use is we're going to use something called base name function. That's going to be able to grab the name of the file before it goes into the temporary folder. And then when we go to save the file in the folder where we want it to be saved, we will actually use the results there in order to name the file name back to what it's supposed to be. So basically, the way it's handled in PHP is you have a file. Let's say you have a file and it's called file1. You then upload it using PHP. That goes into a temporary folder with kind of a random name assigned to it. So then that is now the name of it while it's on the server. So then when you go to save it into the folder where you actually want it to be saved, you actually have to rename it back to its original name. And so using this base name function is a way that we're able to grab what the original name was so that basically we can rename it when it goes into the new folder. Then finally, the other function that we're going to be dealing with today, obviously, is going to be move uploaded file. So move uploaded file, that is the function that you actually actually use to save the file into whatever directory where you're trying to save it. So basically, it's gotten uploaded into a temporary directory. Now that it's sitting in the temporary directory, you have to get it to whatever folder you want it to go to, and that's where you're going to do the move uploaded file function, and that's how that will actually occur. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. We'll go to the computer, I will show you the demonstration, and I'll show you the code, and it all should get a little bit clearer for you. So here we are at my demonstration computer. Again, this is a MacBook Pro, but for this demonstration, it literally does not matter. All I need is a web browser that is able to access the LAMP, the Linux Apache MySQL PHP server that I've created in order to host the website. So this is the gallery that we created in the previous project. Again, you can come here. All of these images, this gallery is dynamically created based off of simply the picture files that are in a folder. And I can go here and I can click on the image, I can zoom in on the image, I can go back to the gallery, so on and so forth. But the issue with this particular app up until this point is there was no way to easily add images to this gallery just for the average user, again, using a web browser. So what I've done is I've created this little PHP app that will allow us to be able to upload images into this gallery. And up here, what I've done is I've simply created a hyperlink. So this hyperlink points to uploadform.html, and this is what will take us to the form to allow us to actually be able to upload files. So with this, don't think, basically there's nothing complicated with this. This is literally just a hyperlink. So we click on this. This takes us to the form. I haven't done any fancy CSS or anything with this. Again, I try to keep these things as simple as possible for you. Make it pretty. Again, if you're going to be doing this in the real world, make it pretty. But this is all you need in order to actually make the form work. So we can go here and we go to choose a file. And from choosing a file, I can go and I can say, well, oh no, let me choose this file. So I'm going to choose that file, img_0900.jpg, and then I can hit submit. So once I've submitted, so this file submission actually worked. And so when it actually worked, I then get this H1 at the top that says picture has been uploaded. It then tells me what image has actually been saved to make sure all of those name transformations and everything worked properly. And then this is one of those things you need to be thinking about from a user experience perspective, is what I've done here is I've actually embedded the image onto this page just so the end user knows what image was actually saved to the gallery, right? So if there was any problems, they would know about it here. Again, this is one of the things you have to think about from a UI UX perspective, is when a user performs an action with your web application, what are the results going to be? Like what can you do so that it feels more comfortable to them, so that they know that they've performed the actions that they should. So with this, I can go, oh, look at this. This is the cute little picture of Peanut, you know, when I put her up on the kitchen island, right? So then past that, I then also, for the geek in us, I also have some diagnostic info here. And again, this is an important thing to be thinking about. When you're building web applications or when you're building applications, build in some little diagnostics initially so that you know how the code is operating. You know what variables are being passed back and forth. And so what I want to show with this is the temporary file name. So basically, when this image gets uploaded to the server and is stored in that temporary directory, basically, again, it's given a file name, and this is the temporary file name that this particular image was given. And then basically what happens is we take this file name and then we save it as this, right? So basically, when we're uploading the image, we grab this name so that once the image is in the temporary directory, we can essentially move the image out of the temporary directory, and when we do, we will rename it back to what it originally was. And so I put this little diagnostic information back here, just again, so you can take a look. You can make sure the temporary name is working properly. You can make sure the save name and all that is working properly, and there's not something screwed up there. And then finally, again, whenever you create an application, you should make sure that people do not get stuck, that it's not a dead end thing. They don't go down a path and then it becomes a dead end. So at the end, we go back to gallery, and now we can see that this image has now been added to the gallery. Again, we can go back, we can do the upload picture. Oh, I don't know. We can do 871. We can hit submit. Again, we can see peanut again. We can see the different. Again, that temporary file name is different down here. Whole 9 yards. We go back to the gallery. And so we have this image here. Now, I can also show you that if there's an error, so I'm just simply going to change the permission over on the server for a second. So I've done that. So if there's an error, I'll show you what happens there. So if we go back to gallery, we go to upload a picture, I do choose file. Oh, let's do that one. I hit submit. Now we can see upload did not work. So again, this gives me the diagnostic information. This gives me some diagnostic information. And so I can try to use this to figure out why that did not work. So in this particular instance, the reason it did not work is because I took away the ability to write to the folder. Again, don't ever leave anybody in a place, again, with a dead end with your application. So I just have to go back here or the back to gallery and so on and so forth. So basically, this is how this application works. And again, it kind of gives you an example, an idea of how you should be building these things. Again, make sure there are not dead ends in your application while you're building it. Make sure to give yourself diagnostic information so you can try to troubleshoot the problem. And also from a user experience perspective, think about what will make the users most comfortable when they're using your application. And again, think about things like that, like with embedding the image so people know, oh, okay, this is the image that I just uploaded. So with that, let's go over and take a look at the server and see how all of this code actually works. So here we are back at my server. Again, I'm running Ubuntu 18.04 LTS, but any version of Ubuntu, really any distribution of Linux should work fine for you. I am using the desktop version, the graphical user interface. I am only doing that because it's a lot easier to visualize things for you folks. Everything that I'm showing you today could and probably should run on a command line only system. So just kind of keep that in mind. So the first thing is again, we have the HTML folder here. So this is the root of the Apache web server. So basically when somebody comes to the Apache web server, this is where the user will get dumped. They will then go to the index.php. So again, any file called index.php or index.htm or index.html that is considered the default file for the root directory. So that is where they will automatically get routed. And then we have the pics folder here. So this pics folder, this is where our pictures are contained. And the important thing with the pics folder is when you take a look at the properties of the pics folder is that for permissions, when you're taking a look at others, the access is create and delete files. So previously, when we did the gallery example, all the others had to be was access files, right? Since I have root permission to this particular server, I was able to copy and paste as Bob, as a root user, as I saw fit. So when people went to the web page and they saw the gallery, all they needed was read permission in order to view the gallery, because that's all they needed. I was writing the files into the folder using my root level permissions. Now, again, since we're actually going to be uploading from web browsers, so that means anybody out there can upload from a web browser, we need this to be create and delete files. If we go over and we take a look at the terminal, let me get out of this for a second. One of the things that we can do is we can go and we can do, let's say cd var www.html. So again, basically at the command line, we're going to the HTML folder, and we can do ls-l. This will show us the permission. So again, here, so we have this pics folder, and what we can see here is that the end result is a read, write, execute permission for others, for everybody. Again, from a security standpoint, that's something to get into with a different class. In order to allow the example to work today, you're going to need that read, write, execute permission. So with that, let me go back to the root directory. Let me clear the screen. And the next thing that we need to do is actually go into the PHP ini file and make sure the ability to upload files is turned on. Now with this particular server, to understand, I put in a plain vanilla. I installed a plain vanilla version of 18.04 LTS. And then in order to create my LAMP server, I used a service called TaskCell. So there's an app called TaskCell. You basically install it, you run TaskCell, and then with that, you can simply click on and create a LAMP server. So instead of having to install all of the packages separately, you can use TaskCell to install everything. So that's what I did. One of the interesting things with that is that seems to, by default, have the file upload turned on. So if you're dealing with your version of Linux, the file upload may be turned off by default, or again, it may be turned on. In my particular instance, it was actually turned on. So if we go in, sudo vim, so basically what we're doing here is sudo, so super user do. I use vim, it's what I use. You want to use something else, by all means, use something else. And then what we need to do is we need to modify the php.ini file. So in my distribution, this is where it is stored. etc php version 7.2 under the Apache 2 has the php.ini file. Use a password 23456. And then from here, we can take a look. Okay, so I guess this is where I had a save before. And what we're going to be looking for is this file uploads. So file underscore uploads, this needs to be on. If it is off, you hit I, you insert, you change it how you see fit, and again, modify it. So basically with this right here, in order to actually be able to upload files, that is going to need to be on. If it's off, then you edit it. After you edit it, you save, make sure you save, then restart the Apache service, and you should be fine. So this is the one thing that you're going to have to do here. So with that, let's go and actually take a look at the script. So we're just going to close that out here. And so for this particular app that I've created today, basically we have two files. So the first one is the upload form.html. So this is a form. So if you've dealt with forms, HTML forms of the past, this is more or less just like every other HTML form you've dealt with. The only difference being is that it accepts a file versus text or whatever else. Then what happens is this is going to pass the values from this form to an upload.php script, and that's where we get this mess here. Let's not worry about that mess for a second. Let's just go take a look at the PHP or at the HTML form. So with this, really, there's not a whole hell of a lot to it. Again, you're going to be opening up the HTML like you normally do. So HTML head, body, and then we get down to the form. So again, here you'll notice there's no special CSS. I haven't tried to make this pretty. So again, if you wanted to put this in divs and change the fonts and all that, you would do that in CSS. So from here, again, form action like you normally have. This is then going to be pointing to the upload.php script. It is going to be a post, and then for the type, it is going to be a multi-part form data. So basically, this is what you're going to have to put in. Then past that, all you do is you come down, again, you put some kind of text for your users, image you want to upload, and then here for input type, basically for input type what you do is the input type is going to be a file, so not a text, not something else, it's going to be a file. You then give it a name of file to upload, and then you give it an ID of file to upload. So this is the way the script, the PHP script will be able to identify the file that is being uploaded. We simply do a break here, and then we have an input type. So basically what this is doing is this is creating the submit button. So if we go back and we take a look at the actual demonstration, all right, so when we take a look here, again, image you want to upload, and then this right here is that file, that input type of file. This button is what you get by simply putting that there. So there's no additional, there's no JavaScript here, there's nothing else. Like literally, if you do the input type file, this is what you get. And then past that, then you have the submit button at the bottom. So when you press that submit button, it will then send the file over to the upload.php script. Then you get to the upload.php script, and this is one of those things. You might have to take a couple of seconds to look at. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need to do here is we're going to need to upload the PHP. So we need to, I'm sorry, we need to open the PHP. So this is opening the PHP tag, and down here we're going to be closing the PHP tag. So everything in between is going to be a PHP that we're going to be dealing with. The first thing that we then have to do is we have to create a variable for the save directory. What directory are we going to be saving the images into? So that is going to equal ./pics/. So basically this is the directory we're going to be saving the images into. And again, so basically it's just saying save it into this particular directory. Past that, this is where we get the full file name for the file that we're going to be saving. And in order to do that, we use this base name function. So this gets a little bit confusing. Okay, so $_files. So again, if you've used get in the past, if you've used post in the past, this is essentially a lot like get or post. So basically you're submitting something to this PHP script. And so for this, it's files. And so with files, what happens is this first, so inside this bracket is the actual file itself, right? So the file itself, you put in inside of single quotation marks, and then this name goes back here, and this relates to this, right? So basically it's saying this is the file that's going to be uploaded, right? So basically that's the file that gets uploaded, and then we have the name for the file here. So basically what happens with this is this function, this base name function, is going to grab the file name for the file that we've created and strip out any extraneous information. All we want is the pure file name itself. We want img_0019.jpeg, and that's what this base name function will do. So basically we're submitting the file itself with the name. We're stripping out the extraneous information so that we just come up with the file name. Once we have just the file name, we are then going to concatenate. So on the front of that file name, we are then going to put the save directory. We are then going to assign the value of all of that to $save file. So basically what it's going to be is ./pics/file name. So what this will then look like is ./pics/ img_0019.jpeg. That is what this is going to end up looking like. Then we're going to go here. Basically, with this if-else statement, what we're going to be saying is essentially if the upload works, everything works fine. What we're going to be doing is we're basically going to say picture is uploaded, and then we are going to embed the picture on the page. Else, so if for some reason the image upload fails, you're going to get the upload did not work, and it's going to give you the ability to go back. So here what we're going to do is we are going to use the function move uploaded file. So there's this function called move uploaded file. And then what we're going to say is move uploaded file. And what this is that $_files file to upload. So this is the file itself. And the temp name. So again, remember, when you upload the file, that file initially goes into a temporary directory and it gets a temporary name while it's sitting in the temporary directory. So what this is saying is take that file that's just been uploaded and essentially name it and save it as whatever this value is, right? So this value is ./pics/ img_0091.jpeg. So what it's saying is take this temporary file that's been uploaded and save it as this. That's all that's happening there. Then you're going to close out of all of this. So this parentheses here, this parentheses here is for the function itself and the move uploaded file. This parenthesis here is for the if. And then we have the squiggly bracket. And so basically, if that works properly, we are going to echo, and this is going to be picture uploaded. And then we're going to concatenate, and we're going to say what the name of the picture uploaded is, right? So let's go over the demonstration just really quick, just so you get an idea of what we're taking a look at here. So let's say img_0910.jpeg. We select on that. And then we hit submit. So basically, what we have is, so here, H1 picture uploaded. So if we go back to the demonstration, H1, picture uploaded, that's that. Then if we go here, we're going to do a break. So we're going to go to the next line, and then we're going to concatenate. And basically here what we're saying is that $_files, file to upload name. So basically the name of the image, dot concatenate was saved, break. And so that's where you go here. And so this img_0910.jpeg was saved. And then we're going to break. And then from there, what we're going to be doing is we're simply just going to be doing an echo of the img src. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be embedding the image. So basically the image that was just uploaded, we are going to embed that image. And so we can use that save file name. So this value that we created up here, we can use that because that is literally where we've saved the image. So the image that we're referencing is going to be in dot/pics/ and then whatever the picture name is. So we can simply use that here in order to embed the image. And then I'm going to simply do a couple of breaks, right? Else, if for some reason the file was not uploaded, it failed. So let's say with this, it might be that php.ini is not allowing you to upload files. It may be that the folder permissions does not allow people to write to the folder. There might be any number of reasons that this does not work. It may be that you screwed up the code. Maybe you mucked up the code somehow. Basically, if that happens, upload did not work, go back. Then finally down here, what I've done is I have this diagnostic information. And again, I think this is an important thing for you to do whenever you're coding these little apps is put in your own diagnostic information so that you understand how your code is actually working. And so for this, one of the things I want to show you is that temporary file name. So again, to show you that the temporary file actually exists. So I'm simply echoing out, TMP file name. And then what we're doing here is concatenating onto that files, file to upload, and the temporary name. So what this is going to do is it's going to print out that temporary name down here at the bottom, just so you can see a little bit of how that works. And then the next thing that we're going to do is, again, we're going to echo out the save file variable value, and then whatever the value for save file is, again, that comes up here. And as you can see, this is what you're getting down here. Now, one of the reasons that I'm printing this out, you may be saying, well, Eli, if the image here printed out, why do I need this save file variable value? One of the reasons this can be important is if this image didn't print out, right? So one of the things, like let's say I modify something. So I go here, and let's say I screw something up. So I do like pics2, right? So instead of being pics for the save directory, I do pics2, and then I hit save. If we go back to the demonstration, again, let's go back to the gallery. I can do upload, choose a file, and then just pick something, right? And then when I do submit, right? So it says upload did not work, go back. And then I can go through, and with this diagnostic information, I can try to see what the problem is. And so, okay, so I've got a temporary file name, so that looks good enough. Is there an issue here? And then what I can see is a save file variable value pics2, right? So I basically, because I modified it, basically I fat fingered what folder the image was supposed to be getting dumped into. This is a way I can take a look and go, oh, wait a minute, why is it trying to dump it into pics2? It's not supposed to be dumping it into pics2. And I can go up here, take a look at the save directory. I go, oh, that's the problem, right? And so that's why, like with this kind of diagnostic information, it's valuable. It's valuable to be thinking about, like, what information do you want when the project succeeds, and what information do you want when the project fails? And then as you're developing your project, just put all of that, just have all of that written out. And so, again, when you're having issues, it's a lot easier to figure out where your problems are. So basically, that's all there is to this particular project. Again, on the website, I'll have all of the code for you, so you can go and you can take a look at the code and basically take a little bit better, get a little bit better idea of how all of it works. But this is the basic idea of what we're doing. So yay! Now you know how to upload images into your pretty cool, nifty, neat image gallery, right? So that's a pretty cool thing to do. So for this particular project today, as with all these little projects, this little component of the project is relatively easy. Essentially, you create an HTML form like you've done at this point 1,000 times in the past. You're going to pass the information from that HTML form to a PHP script. The only difference here is that you're going to be passing an actual file versus just simply text or something in the past. Once that PHP script, that upload.php script, then grabs the file, the important thing to understand is then how PHP interacts with that file. So do remember, it's going to initially save that file into a temporary directory and give it a temporary file name. So in order to move the file from the temporary directory into the directory where you want it to go, you're essentially going to have to rename the file to whatever the hell its original name was. And that's one of the processes here that can get a little bit convoluted. So that's where basically you use that base name function, that whole thing of basically figuring out what the original file name was. You attach that to the folder where the image is going to be stored. And then when you use the move uploaded file function, you basically rename the temporary file to that new name that you've created, basically renaming it to what it was before, and then it will dump it into the folder. Relatively simple. Past that, again, one of the things you're going to have to be thinking about from the user interface, user experience perspective is, again, you can code whatever the hell you want. You can give your user and yourself as much or as little information as possible. One of the things I like about the app that we created today is this both gives information to the end user and it gives you diagnostic information as you're building out this app. So again, by submitting an image to a gallery and then immediately having that image show up on the page, that then shows the end user what image they submitted to the gallery to make sure that they submitted the correct image to the gallery, right? This is one of those things like in the future you might want to add on some type of script where if they uploaded the wrong image, maybe they could delete that image, something like that. We'll deal with that later. But again, this is just a simple way to make your user feel more confident about using your app, where they know, okay, I submitted an image, that's the image that got submitted to the gallery. I feel good about that. Then beyond that, we put down that little diagnostic information for yourself. Again, with that, sometimes you don't have to know why something occurs, just the fact that it does occur. So the fact that you have a temporary folder and a temporary name, the actual name itself there doesn't matter. What's important is that that exists. So, right? So if I go to print out that temporary name and that temporary name doesn't exist, then you know that there's another problem with the script. Something's not happening. So it's a way that you can do diagnostics, again, troubleshooting. Printing out the actual save. So how the file is being saved, giving the file path and the actual image name, that can be valuable for you. Because again, if things are failing, you're trying to figure out why things are failing. If while you were coding things out, you simply misspelled the name of the folder that you're supposed to be dumping the images into, that can cause you a bit of a headache. So think about putting that diagnostic code into the apps that you're creating so that you can troubleshoot what problems you're having. Past that, again, from the Linux standpoint, just make sure that you have the read and write permission for others or for everybody. The write permission allows you to write into the folder, obviously, and then since this is a photo gallery, again, people have to actually be able to see the image, you need the read permission. Depending on what kind of upload app you're creating, you could create an app where you can only write. You actually can just give simply a write permission without the read permission. You could do that. That's not what you want with this particular app. And then past that, you need to go and deal with a php.ini file. So again, when I installed the LAMP stack using task cell on this Ubuntu server, the file upload was on automatically. So I did not have to modify that. But I thought in the past, and when you do some research, I think most distributions keep that off by default. So that's one thing you may have to go in, you may have to edit. So you have to know how to use like Vim or some other kind of text editor in order to edit the php.ini file to turn the file upload to being on. And then once you do that, remember, in order for your service configuration to actually be a running configuration, you then have to restart the Apache web service. So at this point, you should be able to understand how to do that, or at least be able to do an easy Google search. So remember that, again, this is one of those things that can screw you up. If you modify the php.ini file, the absolute next thing that you need to do is restart the Apache service. If you do not do that, the running configuration is still going to be whatever the configuration was the last time the service got restarted. So you can do all kinds of modifications on php.ini, but until you restart the Apache service, you're not actually going to be getting those new configurations. So that's warning. Did I tell you that warning before? If I did not give you that warning before, that's a big warning, especially for any of the new folks out there. So anyways, I think that's pretty nifty, neat little application, a little add-on to the galleries that we've created in the past. As always, I enjoy doing this video, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. If you like the content that I create, please think about going to elithecomputerguy.com and becoming a member or donating. Please understand that all of the educational videos are in front of the paywall. That includes the videos, that includes the notes, the diagrams, and the code example. All of that is freely available and in front of the paywall. But if you want to watch opinion videos, or if you want to be able to comment, you do need to become a member. Membership is $5 a month or $60 a year and gives you access to those opinion videos and the ability to comment. If you don't want to become a member, you just want to give a one-time donation, there's also a donate button where you can do that. Please understand, in order to provide the education that I am, it does cost money. Servers cost money, equipment costs money, travel costs money. All of these things cost a reasonable amount of money, and the fact of the matter is YouTube's advertising program no longer supports creators the way that it used to. So if you want these classes to continue to stick around and you find them to be valuable, please think about either becoming a monthly member or donating a few dollars for this project.